And when a child can't breathe, and when you see that as a parent, it's scary. It's like, yeah, it's really like, the whole world comes to a standstill and nothing else really matters. Allergies, pollution, it's really on the rise. And this is the way we are living. This is the world our children are growing up in. So how do we make it easier? Oh my God, he'll be given steroids. This is what will happen. Weakness and the bloating and putting on of the weight. There were so many things that were discussed. So, my father is asthmatic. So I've grown up seeing him go through asthma, and it was scary. I mean, at that point of time when you can't breathe, we didn't know if my father will survive or not. So that made us grow up as daughters, because, there are times when you go looking for doctors, and what is your mother going to do? 3 daughters, mother and father is going through an asthma attack, and nobody can really tell you exactly what it is. And 2018 and my illness kind of made him independent, and he started taking care of a lot of things himself at that point. Once he's an adult now, only life will tell as years come by as to how good the bond is and how it has been strengthened. It's the same thing with anything else. It's in your head also. If you're going to let that bog you down, then it is going to take over your life. You just need to pick yourself up and start moving on. Well, I would say that is because we've been given the opportunity. Earlier, that opportunity was not there. Women actors working before 90s also would have loved to have done that, but those stories were not being told.
She was, she is, and she will always be a queen. I don't know about anyone else. For me, she's evergreen. She is someone I have loved, adored. And I can tell you that just to get into the zone of this interview, I was listening to Johal Dilka while coming here throughout the way, because I just love her so much. And it's a pleasure for me, because 4 times the charm, and I'm getting to interview the amazing, the gorgeous, the evergreen Sonali Bendre. So Sonali, firstly, welcome to Bollywood Bubble.
Thank you, Akash. Thank you. You're very kind.
It's all from the heart and it's all true, I have to say. And everyone here will agree with me on that. I have to say that this Stuffies campaign, as I told you, hits home to me, because I have been an asthmatic patient for the last 15 years. And I know what all struggles go through with it, and what all goes through the mind, because it's not just physical, it's also very mental pressure that comes with it. Because I remember, if I'm not carrying my inhaler any day with me, that day I will get an attack. Because it plays with you mentally. For you, what pulled you towards this campaign? What made you say yes to kind of promote the awareness about it?
Well, my son is asthmatic. So for me, that is the connect. And hence, you start looking at what are the causes. And, it's a non-communicable disease, as they call it. So what happens is that because it's not kind of, how do I say it? It sounds, I'm saying it in a layman term, but because really nobody else around is getting affected by it, you don't think of it as, something that's an illness or a disease. Only the family and the child is affected, or the person, I would say, is kind of struggling through it. So first of all, to get it diagnosed, to understand what it is. And then there are so many myths that are surrounding, asthma. And look, there are a lot of things that, I'm not a doctor, so I cannot say that, oh, this is what it should be or it shouldn't be. But what I can say is that allergies, pollution, it's really on the rise. And, this is the way we are living. This is the world our children are growing up in. So how do we make it easier? So yes, of course, you make the environment better, you reduce the pollutions, you reduce the allergens. All that is great, but that doesn't solve a mother's problem, which is instant at that point when her child is not able to breathe. And when a child can't breathe, and when you see that as a parent, it's scary. It's like, yeah, it's really like, the whole world comes to a standstill and nothing else really matters. Breath is so important, and that's life. And when your child can't breathe, it's just the most scary thing that a mother can go through.
True.
Or parents can go through. And let's not take it away from, fathers also, definitely. So that's why when Cipla came with this, so Cipla had come out earlier also with 2 campaigns. One was Breathe Free and one was a Berok Zindagi and stuff like that. And I really liked what they were doing, because it was targeting and, educating people, or educating also is a big word. Let's say bringing awareness to people and, kind of shattering some myths. Because when my child was diagnosed with asthma and everybody went into, oh my God, he'll be given steroids, this is what will happen, weakness and the bloating and putting on of the weight. There were so many things that were discussed. But quite frankly, I gave my child the inhaler when it was necessary, only when it was absolutely necessary. But what happened was that it's the way you use it. So you give it when it is necessary. That's what I did. And after that, I could, he was thrown into the pool literally at the age of 1.5, 2. You know that because I knew this was the problem. So you give the thing and you start building the lungs, you start building the thing, start doing the cardio. And every time he did a cardio, he would get the attack. You kind of reduce the time it takes to recover and then go back to it, So you will see most of the time, you'll see asthmatic kids are homebodies, not really physically strong, not really doing too much of physical activity. Yes, they will not be your medal winners, but they don't have to be sitting in the chair at home kind of children. They should be able to play. They should be able to have fun. They should be able to go on adventures because children deserve that. And that then, you kind of, when you use it for a certain amount of time, and your doctors will tell you, you need to go to a doctor. They will prescribe it for a certain amount of time, which will help you recover from it so that you can build the lungs up and you can build your immunity up and stuff like that.
And I completely understand the myths and everything, physical strenuous activities you talk about. No, because the misconception is that if you're asthmatic, you can't do much of the physical
that's not
activity.
true.
That's not true. I have done dance for 3 years professionally, that for the same reason, because I was like, I want to make my body used to this kind of metabolism.
Correct.
Otherwise,
you have athletes, you have footballers, you have basketball players, etc. With asthma. And that was the thing, my son loved basketball, and they were, I'm not very good with the names, but it was more like, showing him that just look at that, he is an asthmatic and he is playing NBA. Yeah. So, that is the, you can do it too.
The first time you saw Ranveer having the asthma attack, what went through your mind? How did you deal with it? Because as you said, the world come to a standstill for a parent seeing that.
So, my father is asthmatic. So I've grown up seeing him go through asthma, and it was scary. Yeah. And it was at my father's time that you realize. So for me, it was kind of a process had started at that time from my childhood. It used to be, at that point of time when you can't breathe, we didn't know if my father will survive or not. And, we were never near relatives because he was on a transferable job. He worked in the government service. So we were always away somewhere in a different city. There was not like a, extended family around. So that made us grow up as daughters because, there are times when you go looking for doctors and what is your mother going to do? 3 daughters, mother and father is going through an asthma attack and nobody can really tell you exactly what it is. And all it needed was an inhaler on a regular basis and the trauma would have been less. But because you don't take medication, you try all kinds of alternative medication, which didn't really work. It came to a point when I started working in movies and, my father was still struggling through it and he would get and then, really struggle through the attack. And it was more like, at some point when he would only take it at a, only when it was really bad and, you get addicted to it and all those myths were there. But frankly, my father, touch wood, is so active and fit and is doing so much. And he's been taking he went on a course of it and slowly tapered the inhaler off. So he had to take it 3 times a day, then it went down to 2 times, now 1 time. In fact, now, touch wood, my father is 86 years old and he barely takes it, maybe once in a week or sometimes when he feels it, when the humidity gets too much and he starts feeling it is when he takes it. He doesn't even need to take it every day anymore.
Yeah, I completely agree because I remember I had to take it daily once and now it has been 4 years and I've taken 4 times in 4 years.
Exactly.
It's improves day by day. Yeah. That's why I said it's home to me because I can relate to a lot of things that you're saying. But your son is about to turn 18 now this year. Yeah. So he's gonna enter adulthood. Yeah. So what are your concerns as a parent kind of changed, have evolved now? Because apart from health.
Yeah, so, the thing is that he understood what the inhaler did to him. The inhaler is in his school. One is in his bag. So wherever he goes, it is that's one thing that goes in his pocket, or it's in the car or whatever. That's one thing that goes with him. Frankly, he has not needed it. There are times when you run out of it. I mean, it expires and we chuck it because it's not getting used anymore, but you just keep it because at any point of time, if any allergy triggers it off, it's there as a safety. So yeah, he's going to, as you said, he's going adult, he'll go to college. So he's quite sorted with what he needs to do to take care of his health.
Because till now, he is at home, you can always be there. And,
but I think 2018 and my illness kind of made him independent, and he started taking care of a lot of things himself at that point of time.
Just like you kind of supported him initially when he was dealing with, he also supported you.
Absolutely.
During your time.
Yeah.
So, has it kind of strengthened your relation also with your son, because you have seen each other go through similar phases, different kind of situations?
Only once he's an adult now, only life will tell as years come by as to how good the bond is and how it has been strengthened. Because till they are children and they're teenagers, it's all fabulous. Now when they're away from home and they get a life of their own, I will know what kind of a bond it is. But as of now, considering that he's like in the throes of his teenage years, it's been good.
Completely. And I'm very happy that he's doing so good, because a little relatability here because of asthma. But I'm very happy that he's doing good. Also, like suffering from a prolonged disease and managing work at the same time could be a little difficult. For you, how was it kind of managing that? I know you were away from work.
Any illness is also in your head. And like we said that, you keep the inhaler with you because, psychologically, it's with you. It's the same thing with anything else. It's in your head also. If you're going to let that bog you down, then it is going to take over your life. But if you say, okay, this is the way I do it, I take the puff, I move on, and I grow up from there. That's the same logic for most of the illnesses. You just need to pick yourself up and start moving on.
Yeah. Before closing, because we are Bollywood Bubble, I would put in a little of Bollywood in it.
Yeah.
So today we see what I really admire about you and your contemporaries from the 90s especially is how you have reinvented what a women's career is supposed to be. Because there was a lot of, before we had a lot of stereotypes that after a certain marital or parental status, career stops. But you and the whole 90s batch, I would say, have reinvented it, and OTT has come into play a lot.
I would say that is because we've been given the opportunity. Earlier, that opportunity was not there. With OTT platforms, multiplexes, different kind of stories being told, suddenly there is a niche, there is a place where stories of different kinds can be told. And that's the reason why we are able to reinvent. I'm sure women actors working before 90s also would have loved to have done that, but those stories were not being told. So I think it's the matter of the timing and the way the opportunities that are available to us. We're just making good of that.
But does it fill you with a little sense of pride that you are a part of that change, a beginning of that change for women as well?
Rather than pride, I would say I'm happy that change is happening. I think there's a long way to go still. But it's a beginning, and I'm happy that the beginning has happened.
And I have to say, I love seeing you on screen and off screen anywhere, but it just fills me with pride seeing you, because there's a lot of positivity, and a very positive is the only word that's coming to mind, but a good and amazing aura that radiates whenever I'm around you. Thank you so much for that. And it does not limits to off screen. It goes on screen as well. Even when we are not seeing each other one on one, you have that kind of aura. So thank you for that. And
thank you.
Thank you for associating with a campaign like this, because
thank you so
asthma needs awareness. Because I have seen people having myths about it. Thank you for taking that step.
Thank you. And don't forget, Akash, that your dancing is due.
Yes.
We have not forgotten it. We need to see it.
We have to do
not
that.
Not today, because we are here, but somewhere else next time. I'm not going to let you go unless you do a dance number for me.
But thank you so much for giving me this time. It was an amazing time I had talking to you. Can't wait to have our next conversation soon.
Done.
Thank you so much.
Hi, this is Sonali Bendre, and you're watching me on Bollywood Bubble.